All right. We are back on the matter of Abigail Gider. We actually completed the trial on this matter the last time we were here on February the 9th. We reset it for today. The court was taking it into advisement. In the meantime, I ordered that all the previous orders remain in effect, and I was going to make a referral to the Youth Villages Intercept program. I ordered that that both the Garden Lightham and Miss Ballard actually ordered that they go to the home of Miss Hubbell, excuse me. And then I also ordered that the mother could have phone conversations with the child on the phone that she purchased with her on Tuesdays and Sundays for 30 minutes. And we were back today to check on the progress of those matters before the court would be able to make a final ruling on this case. We have with us today, or we had I just lost Miss Mack again. We have Miss Mack, who is the Garden Lightham on the case. We have Miss Cheetah, who is the attorney for the mother, Miss Hubbell, who is with us. And we have Mr. Brad Frakes, who is the attorney for the father, Mr. Steiner Gider, who is here as well. Let me just wait until Miss Matt gets back. Here she comes.
Your Honor, if I may, while we wait on Ms. Mack, I had been instructed to draft the order. Looking through my file last night, I found the draft of the order that I had written but had not submitted to the court. I forwarded it to opposing counsel this morning. I have a copy for the court as well.
Okay. In the meantime as well, there's a notice of filing, a behavior detail report, and child's drawing that was made by Mr. Frakes as well.
Yes, Your Honor, and I have provided those to opposing counsel by mail, and I brought a copy as well this morning.
Email last night.
Okay.
Which is
I think it got filed yesterday, so.
Yeah, and we have no notice, we don't, it's hearsay, it's not a certified document.
Ms. Mack, you're standing?
Yes, Your Honor. Respectfully, Ms. Ballard's, the reason that she could not be here today, Your Honor, she has a sick child at home, and she's willing to participate by phone if the court will allow that.
Okay, I definitely want to hear from her.
Yes.
Is there any objection for hearing from Ms. Ballard? All right. You give me your number, we can call her from here.
Okay, yes, Your Honor.
Can we address the orders after we have Ms. Ballard?
Yes.
584-3098, Your Honor.
This is Laura Ballard of Progressive Family. Please leave a voice message. Thank you.
I'm
At the
texting Your Honor.
tone, please record your message. When you have finished recording, you may hang up or press 1 for more options.
Hi, Ms. Ballard. This is Judge Calloway. We'll try and call you again. Thank you.
This is. Hey, the court's trying to call you from the bench. Okay, all right.
Ready? Okay.
Hello?
Hi, Ms. Ballard. This is Judge Calloway. How are you?
I'm fine.
All right. Is this a good time for we can get some testimony from you at this time?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. If I can get you to raise your right hand first, and we're going to put you under oath.
Okay.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, to help you God?
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Ballard. Okay, go ahead, Ms. Mack.
close the phone. Okay. Good morning, Ms. Ballard. How are you?
I'm fine.
Could you state your name for the record?
Tara Ballard.
And are you an agent with Progressive Families?
Yes, ma'am.
And can you tell the court when you began working services with Delara Gider and the Hubbell family?
Okay, I can't remember the exact date. It was, I think, in December or so.
Okay.
January, December, somewhere in there.
Okay, and what kind of service have you been providing to them?
Supervised visitation.
Okay, and in providing that supervised visitation, how many supervised visitations have you had with the family?
I don't have the exact number for you, but it's normally once a week,
Once a week for how long?
2 hours.
2 hours. And you're working with the once a week, 2 hours a week. Do you have to interact with both the mother and the father?
More with the mother than the father, because I interact with both.
Okay. You've submitted some notes now on 2 occasions in regards to your supervision and observation of the visitations between the mother and the child, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you tell the court what your observations have been for the parenting styles and the communication between the mother and the child since December?
Your Honor, let me just,
Hold on a second, Ms. Ballard. There's a question, I guess.
I object to parenting styles. I don't know that, I think that's more of an expert type of question. I don't mind observations, but I think her giving opinions about parenting styles is outside any.
I think that could be part of what she observes, how the mother's parenting. So I'll overrule that section.
And Ms. Ballard, can you answer that question in regards to the mother's parenting style with Delara?
She communicates well with her. I haven't had any issues as far, there were a few times I would intervene and say, we're not going to talk about that. And that had to do with feelings. I didn't want us to talk about feelings. I was leaving that for the counsel to deal with. But she has been very good as far as explaining what she wanted. I'll give you an example. If they're working on a project or she's trying to redirect Delara, she is very clear on what her expectations are and trying to get Delara to do a particular activity or to get settled.
Okay. And her preparedness for the supervised visitations with Delara, what is your observations from that?
She is extremely organized and prepared for her visits.
Okay.
Overly prepared.
Okay. And during the visitations, how is Delara's behavior or interaction with her mother?
It depends on Delara's mood. Delara she can be moody. At times, she's oppositional. Sometimes she's a little defiant. Other times, she can be playful and actually show empathy towards her mother. It just depends on the mood. Overall, she does have issues with following directions. That is very difficult for Delara to follow directions.
Okay. And does that cause any issues with the visitation with the mother?
Yes.
Okay. What kinds of issues?
And I'll explain, let me explain that. I have never asked the mother directly, does this bother you that she's not following directions? It bothers me that she's not following directions. And in particular, I had documented our last visit that we had at the mall. I was really frustrated with Delara for not following directions because her mother gave her very direct instructions on what to do, and Delara did what she wanted to do. Completely, and the directions were very clear. There was no room for error, and Delara still did what she wanted to do. And that was when the mother, she had brought some chickens and some guts, and Delara wanted her father to see the animals, and the mother explained to her, I was very clear and concise. She had me hold the box of where the remainder of the animals were, and it was one that the child called Raven. The child named Raven, and she wanted her father to meet the little animal And the mother said, you can show it to him, then put it in the box and give it to Miss Latara, and then you and your dad will leave. And she said she could only do this if she was not going to act out and she was going to follow directions and she was going to have a good attitude. And Laura was sure she could do this, that was no problem, and that did not occur. Not only did she run away from me and the dad to run back to the mom, and that happened in the mall, but when she, after the visit, she totally had a meltdown on her dad. So it was she did the complete opposite of everything her mother told her to do.
Okay. Now, Miss Ballard, you were present previously, and you actually offered testimony as to your opinion of the readiness of the mother and the child to begin unsupervised visitations, correct?
That's correct.
And your testimony at that time and your recommendation in writing was that they could begin unsupervised visitations subject to some in-home services being provided to the family.
Yes.
And your reasoning for that was what? Could you state that again?
My reasoning for that was so that the child is covered in all environments and someone is there not necessarily monitoring, but when you have issues, that someone could go back and talk to all parties in all environments, whether it be the school or both parents, to get understanding of what's going on before it's a big blow up.
And your reasoning for that, you testified earlier, was for the protection of...
Object to the leading.
My reasoning for it was because I have heard Laura make negative comments about both parents. Mm-hmm. And the way that she presents her father is not the man that I see at all. She tries to... She'll say negative things about him that I do not believe is true.
Okay. And about the mother?
And about the mother, yes.
Does she make statements about the mother?
There was a statement she had made that she didn't like the visit. She wasn't having fun. And I was like, yes, you are. I'm there. She's smiling. She enjoys herself during her visit.
So does Laura have a habit of being untruthful at times?
I would not use I won't say untruthful. She sees things from her perspective and her perspective only. So I'll give you an example of her perspective. Her perspective was that her father told her to keep a secret about her going to Camp Ridgewater. Her father never told her that it was a secret. He never told her to keep a secret because he knows that if he tells her that something's a secret, she's going to definitely tell it. So he never said anything to her about it. I actually know from a third party that
Objection.
she admitted
Okay.
that
Yeah, hold on.
Miss Ballard, you can't tell about what someone else has told you.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, I know then that it was.
Objection. That's just getting around the hearsay. She's just saying she knows. And it's
You want-
She probably knows that, yeah.
I'll give a foundation.
Okay.
Do you have personal knowledge of this information, Miss Ballard?
Yes, because the child said that.
objection. That
Came back
can't
and
come
said
from the
that-
child either.
You're
That's
not-
hearsay.
Hold on, Miss Ballard.
Do I need to say
No,
something?
yeah, go ahead.
The position is, Your Honor, the sole purpose of progressive families is to provide what services and what the communications are between the family and how well they're going. At this point in time, it's showing that the communication is going well between the mother and the child, but these are in regards to my client, in regards to her behavior and her issues that she's presenting to be a barrier to the family being able to reunify.
Why she's in the case doesn't have anything to do with whether that's hearsay.
I'm going to overrule objection. I think this is pseudo neglect and dependency stuff. That's why we have a guideline on this matter. And that's a specific rule that allows child statements. So I'll go ahead and let her go ahead and say it.
I'm
Well,
just
I mean,
saying
that before-
that was my
Can I-
foundation.
may I-
Hold on, Miss Ballard. Hold on, just a second. We're still arguing over that.
I want to make a clarification then. Is this a dependency and neglect?
It should be, but it's not.
Then we're not. But we're following
It's
dependency
pseudo.
and neglect.
I'm making that
rules?
determination. This is going to get overruled anywhere, or not overruled, appealed. So that could just be one of the issues that go up on appeal.
that we're letting in hearsay
But
because
I've
it
decided
should
that the
be.
child statement, that this, because I think this is pseudo neglected dependency, and this is the child's statement as part of a neglected dependency issue, I'm going to allow her statement in.
That, the child's statement would either be,
Okay, I'm
if
making
under,
that's my ruling, Ms. Cheatham. I've made the ruling, so I'm gonna go ahead and let her testify.
I'm just trying to discover the basis because it's gonna
That's,
continue.
I know it's gonna be appealed, but that's what the basis. I've given it twice already. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Ms. Ballard, in regards to the statements of the
So
child with your
because,
personal knowledge.
Because of what can be said by the child that she sees from her perspective, that's why I wanted youth villages involved, so that it will be somebody that, even though it's unsupervised visits, can actually sit down and still talk to Delora across all 3 different environments, whether it's school, her dad's house, or her mom's house, and have a foundation of what's going on to help clarify things that Delora might say to either parent that would start confusion and continue them to have that mistrustful relationship with one another.
Isn't it true, well, did you also make that recommendation for other reasons?
Just another thing is just really to basically cover that child. If they have youth villages, the things that, especially right now, the type of statements the child is making, she needs to be seen in every environment.
Do you have any safety concerns?
The safety concern that I have is for the child. The statements that she makes, I think that they're attention-seeking, but you never know. So that's why I would like youth villages involved, to actually talk to her and she receive more intensive in-home services.
And your understanding right now of youth villages' ability to be in the home?
The issue is that the child does not have 10 care. With the mom does not have primary custody, so she's not eligible for, Dolores is not eligible for 10 care under the mom. The dad has Cigna, and with Cigna does not cover in-home services.
Okay.
So, I mean, we're just kind of stuck.
Aren't there other ways to get youth villages in the home?
If there was a DCS referral and DCS paid for it, yes.
Okay. And at this point in time, since we were last in court and we began the actual phone calls with the mother and the child, was that the only thing that actually changed, was actual phone calls during the week?
Yes, that was, and that, like I said in my notes, that was shocking to me. I had expected the child to act out when supervised visits started. But the acting out, and the dad has been in communication with me. It has started once the unsupervised visits started. I mean, not unsupervised visits, unsupervised phone calls.
And when you said the dad communicated to you,
Yes. So
have,
when she has done things, I get a phone call telling me what she has done.
okay, have you communicated with Dr. Berryman throughout this process?
Yes, I have.
And in your working with Dr. Berryman in regards to this, has the child had any struggles in therapy?
Objection, Your Honor, now we're going to
I'm not sure.
her.
Strike that.
Okay.
My apologies. The only change that has been is unsupervised phone calls since we were last in court, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And with unsupervised phone calls and the visitations.
And wait a minute, Your Honor, I don't object to that too. How would she know? She's not at school, she's not at home, she's
I
not
didn't
at
ask her
mom's
anything
home.
about school.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. She's saying the only thing that's changed with the child, but the only thing she knows about is the visits, other than things people are telling
Okay,
her.
I think that's just a good. That's not an objection. I think that's a good cross-examination question. All right, go ahead, Miss.
Ms. Ballard,
Mm-hmm.
your recommendation was that we begin unsupervised visitations with in-home services for the safety of the child, correct?
That's correct.
And the court has now ordered youth villages, but to your understanding, as well as the guardian ad litems, youth villages cannot provide that service right now.
That's correct.
And the child has had unsupervised phone calls with the mother.
Mm-hmm.
During your visitation observations with the child and the mother, has there been any behavior changes during the visitation time?
No, Delora still acts the same.
What do you mean acts the same?
Acts the same. Sometimes she can really enjoying herself, and then other times she can be a little bit defiant, or she hesitates in following directions the first time asked. Mom is still the same as far as she verbally processes with her, like, why don't you want to do this? We have to do this first, and then we can do, move on to the next activity. So the visits, as far as Delora's behavior, the only thing that has been, there has been something different. The day the dog was brought, that was the first time Delora just was, just kind of on the manic side. It was difficult for her to start the visit, but it was understandable for her. Her little puppy was there, and she was distracted and wanted to play with the puppy. But as far as acting depressed or more happy, she's normally excited to see her mom. Following an actual directive it can be hit or miss. If she feels like doing it, she's going to do it. If she doesn't feel like doing it, her mother's going to have to verbally process with her to get her to comply and doing whatever she's supposed to be doing. So as far as the business, it's the same.
Okay. And there's not any safety issues during the visitations between the mother and the child?
No.
Okay. And Ms. Ballard, you submitted a report with the dates of your observations from February 15th through March 1st, 2018. Is that an accurate reflection of all the observations that you've had and the communications that you've had on this case?
Yes, ma'am.
And your recommendations at this point in time, based upon the needs of the child and the safety concerns that you have, are what at this point in time, ma'am?
I'm hoping the court can intervene and get youth villages to get on board to provide in-home services for Delora. My other thing is I was hoping that I had submitted a song that I guess it had, according to Delora, her dad did not like the song. So if the parents can agree to what type of songs they like, the song that it's a little campy song, and you hear it on the radio all the time, but just for them to agree on what are some topics that are off limits, songs that are off limits. They need to have a groundwork of what their expectations are of each other. And I think that will alleviate some of the confusion of either parents feeling that the child is in danger or something like that. And then, let's see, that's really it right now. I just really would like them to focus on Delora. Delora is, she's a handful.
Are there any issues with the parents setting boundaries or working together for the child's best interest?
Yes. Dad has a hard time of, he can set the boundary. It is Delora not, she'll push through that boundary. And she just completely overlooks it. So Dad can tell her no, but it's Delora still doing what she wants to do. Mom has to make a request. Sometimes she can make a request one time if Delora feels like doing it. If she doesn't, she has to state her request 2 or 3 times, and she does a really good job of processing with her. I do have to commend her, and Father could be doing the same. I'm just not observing him. But when I'm observing Mrs. Hubbell, she does a really good job of keeping her composure and telling Delora what her expectations are. And then saying, well, if you don't do this, I'm not going to let you do this, and we'll just sit here for a second. And she has the ability to wait out Delora, and I think that's positive. I have not seen her become frustrated and like I've seen a lot of parents do, and get to the point of like, I just don't want to be bothered or something like that. She's able to keep her composure.
And she's actually setting up regular visitations too.
Yes, she is. Okay.
Now, in your report, you discussed some concerns that you have with interaction or lack of flexibility of the parents. What are you discussing in that?
What I'm saying right there is, again, with the music, that's why I submit that song, the flexibility is, the dad feels that some songs are going to be triggers to Delora. I personally think anything that Delora does not feel like doing is going to be a trigger to Delora. It's not a particular song, it's not a particular activity, it's what she feels like doing. So the mom has actually, it was a song I thought was a really nice song. It didn't have any words to it really, other than she was singing the child's name over and over again. And then she had the child, two of her friends, and Mrs. Hubbell, the two friends, it's a brother and a sister, she also babysits these two children at times too. So it had their names in it. So she makes up songs, and Laura, she likes making up songs too, kind of doing some songwriting stuff. So I could think of a lot of songs that could be like really depressing or have some bad messages. The messages tend to be have a more positive overture with them. So I wish the parents could sit down and agree. At one point, we actually had a conversation about a document. Well, I didn't have that conversation. Mother and daughter did. And they concluded that both parents like Katy Perry. So maybe they need to be doing some Katy Perry songs. I don't know. But be able to come up with some things that are agreeable, so that the child is not receiving mixed messages and feeling like some things are bad, but yet she turns around and every visit she wants to make sure the middle is played. The song is called The Middle. For them to be able to have some flexibility and understanding that some things is just part of Dolores' personality. It is part of her being the only child between two parents, and they have spoiled her, and not always blaming each other for her behaviors.
Do you, in your understanding and working with progressive families and the history of, or your educational career, do you have any other suggestions outside of youth villages and opening a case, getting some in-home services? Do you have any other suggestions for the parents outside of working together a little bit better?
Basically right now, being able to work together, starting with, I think if they had youth villages in, one of the things that they would be doing is coming up with household rules that Ms. Hubbell has, household rules that Mr. Gider has, and then finding what's common so that the child isn't faced with two separate rules. So co-parenting between the two of them, that's really not an option right now. I think right now, having youth villages focus on Delora and then showing the parents how they can best meet her needs, I think that's the best route at this point. That's a great starting point for them.
And let me ask you, in your agency, Progressive Families, you have the history of working with children with IEPs and special needs as well, correct?
That's correct.
And would it be in Delara's best interest for the parents to have that youth villages to ensure Delara is successful in a school setting going forward educationally? And why do you say that?
Because a lot of where she's at school, most of her daytime hours, her behaviors right now are affecting her at school.
Okay.
They're affecting her at school. A lot of the issues, they're manifesting themselves when she's at school. So, yeah, that's why I feel youth villages would be awesome for that family, because not only would they go in the home, but they'll go to school and find out what's going on at school. And then they will come up with a plan. So that all parties will be able to follow that plan.
And Ms. Ballard, you submitted attached to your report something about The Middle. Is this the song that you're talking about?
That is the song, and if someone can play it, you'll realize you hear this song at the mall and at the little family fun center. Yes. This is I call it a little campy-like song. And
this song did not, during your visitation time, observation time, was this song played for the child? Did she sing the song?
Yes, this is a song that the child requests. She likes this song.
Okay,
She likes this song, and it's a song called The Tomato.
okay,
But this is the song that Mom plays on her ukulele, and Delora sometimes plays one with her recorder.
okay. And does the behavior during the visitation, is it affected during the visitation?
What is her behavior?
Affected by the playing or singing of this song during the visitation?
No, she's perfectly fine.
Okay. All right, Miss.
She enjoys this song.
Okay.
The only thing, and how I knew the dad did, and the dad might not have said this. This was Dolores saying that her dad didn't like this song and said it was a bad song.
Okay.
And so, her mother had actually said, well, if you don't like things that your dad don't like, I understand, but then if you want to please your dad, why are you cutting up at school? Shouldn't you be good at school? And Dolores then changed the subject. She didn't want to talk about that. But Mrs. Hubbell has tried to, during the visits, I don't know what happens on those phone calls because I'm not on those phone calls. During the visits, she has tried to be supportive of the rules and things that that the dad has set up.
And Miss Hubbell has even communicated to you that she doesn't like it when her daughter's acting out at school, right?
No, she does not like that at all. No, ma'am.
Is there a way, right now, I know you said no co-parenting, in your history of working with this case, or as well as working with the school system, is there any way we could introduce Ms. Hubbell into the school setting without there being a detriment to the child?
I hope so. I know the mom already talked to one of the teachers to get the, to find out her colors, and I think she communicates with the principal also. So if she could have more involvement, that would be great.
Okay. And would it help if Ms. Hubbell would be as detailed or would be direct in regards to her communication with the school and respect any boundaries? Not saying that she hasn't recently, but would it help with the communication with the school for Delara?
It would help. And one of the things, and I tell this to all parents, I don't know if I'm saying this in general. When parents work with the school, always remember they have a class full of students. So even though you're focused on your one child, give them a little time. Be patient with them because they're focusing on the entire classroom and the needs of that particular child. So if you call them and you're like, oh, they returned my call, give them, don't jump to conclusions and feel like they don't care or something like that. I don't think Ms. Hubbell would necessarily have an issue like that. But I personally think she would love to be finding out what homework the child was having and be more involved in homework and things of that nature. She likes stuff like that.
Are you willing to continue or able to continue supervised visitations if the court were to order that to continue?
If the court ordered, yes, I would, but the only limitation, Mrs. Hubbell really, really wants more time with her daughter. And I'm not able to give more time. And then the other piece is it's a financial strain on her also.
Okay. And with Progressive Families, we're talking about these kind of other agencies. With Progressive Families, are you able to do some of the case management or in-home services that we're trying to refer out to youth villages?
I'm able to, but I don't think it'll be in the family's best interest.
And the reason?
I would like fresh eyes on them.
Okay. And let me ask you this: when Mom brought the chicks and the ducks, and Dad brought the dog, is that normal during visitation times, or normal?
No.
Okay.
No. I will say it's not normal. It was my first time having experiences like this, amazingly. I will say for Delara, on her behalf, when her mom had brought the chickens and the ducks, they're in a box. They're like they were brand new. It was the best I've seen Delora act. She was very calm. She was completely mesmerized by the animals. I was able to observe Mrs. Hubbell teaching her how to care for the animals, and she had to redirect her a few times to be mindful of making sure that they didn't get hurt and that type of thing. So she was an appropriate parent. But I had never had that experience before, no. It's not normal, no. And either for the dog, for the situation with the dog, the dad and the dog and Delora had rode to the visit together, and the dog was everywhere, yeah.
And so going forward, if you were to continue with the supervised visitations, what would you like?
It has started so much confusion. I say let's leave and I would love, when they get youth villages and all that gets settled, Delora, she's going to hate it. She'll be able to see the ducks and chickens again. But for right now, let's leave the dog and all the animals out of it.
Okay. All right, that's all my questions. Some other people are going to have some questions for you, Ms. Ballard.
Okay.
So Frank's gonna start?
I just have one question. Ms. Ballard,
Yes, sir.
have you had the opportunity to inspect the mother's home as of yet?
No, sir. She has offered. She wanted me to come there. I have not had time to do so.
Do you intend to do so in the future?
Yes, I would if I was if I was the person in charge of that. My scope of services is supervised visitation, and I had hoped that youth villages would have started first, and then we would, after youth villages start, then do a home visit to make sure the home was appropriate, and then you should be able to roll right into unsupervised visitation. But those things did not occur.
Thank you. No further questions, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Cheatham?
Ms. Ballard, Cindy Cheatham.
Hey, how are you?
I'm well, how are you?
All right.
I have a few questions for you. When Dad actually brought a puppy to the mom's visit, is that accurate?
Delora wants the dog there. Yes, so the dog was brought there. Yes, ma'am.
That by Dad?
Delora wanted it there, so yeah, Dad is transporting them.
But Dad's the adult, correct?
But Dad was?
Dad was the adult.
Yes, he's the adult, yes.
Could have said no to Laura, this
Not an
is your...
objection, the relevance of the,
Well, she could ask.
Could have said no to Laura, this is your mom's visit, and we're not bringing a puppy to her visit.
That's
Correct?
correct. That's
And there was even an issue where Delora may have been having an allergic reaction to the dog, correct? Sniffling?
Yes, the child was sniffling, and I asked her, I thought maybe she was coming down with a cold or something, and then it was revealed that the child had been tested years before to have moderate allergic reactions to dogs.
And when they got there with the dog, Delora engaged the father in a chase all over the parking lot with this dog, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And then it caused the mother to have to come outside to see what was going on.
That's correct.
They're running around and Delora was running around and causing the puppy to run around, correct?
That's correct.
And you say Mr. Gider tried to get Delora to calm down and start the visit, but he wasn't able to do that, was he? It wasn't until Miss
This
Hubbell.
child was almost, she was like in a manic state. She was having fun. The option was, do we need to cancel the visit? She wanted the visit to continue, but she wanted to run around. And every time the dad was trying to get the dog into the car, she would just get in there and bump him around or something to get the dog to run more.
So, some more questions about the stat and some of the things you noted. And you correct me if I'm wrong, did you say Dad has a hard time, cannot control her, and when he sets a boundary, she pushes through that
And
boundary?
I'm gonna object to the compound question.
That wasn't a compound. Can you break it down a little?
Was your prior
What I'm
testimony?
saying is, he sets, it's not like he allows her to do whatever she wants to do.
Right.
He sets boundaries for her.
Right,
But Delara does, which she still tries to do what she wants to do. If that means she's going to have a tantrum to try to do what she wants to do, that's what she's going to do. She is oppositional.
and when he sets a boundary, she pushes through that boundary. Was that your testimony?
Yes, she does. She will have tantrums and become upset and still try to do what she wants to do.
And then I believe the statement, to be specific, was Dad cannot control her.
I think this is the thing. The discipline should have been in place when she was 2, 3, and 4. And
Right.
then the type of thing she's doing right now is what you see kids that are 2, 3, and 4-year-olds do. As far as tantruming, testing every boundary, doing what they want to do, and you have to just micromanage them. That's the type of behavior that Delara does right now. And that is what's very difficult. And so literally, he is constantly having to micromanage her.
And you don't know what was going on when she was 2, 3, and 4,
I
correct?
have no idea. I just know that her behaviors is what a child in that age group exhibits. When they're much younger, you can control them and you get them, you set boundaries and discipline so that once they get to Delara's age, they don't act like that anymore.
But if Delara didn't act like that when she was 2, 3, and 4, and do
Objection, Your Honor, calls
something,
for speculation.
I also say that one.
let me ask you this. Since you don't know what happened when she was 2, 3, and 4, would it be fair to say, are you aware that Dad has been the primary parent for the last 2.5 years? Let me ask you that.
I know that he's been the primary parent for at least a year. I don't know the exact time frame.
2.5 years.
Okay.
Okay. Would it be a fair statement that whatever is going on with Delara is not working?
I won't say it's not working. Delara needs a lot of attention, and she needs some intervention right now. She needs some type of intervention.
Well, if you have a child that appears to be in control of the person who has been her primary caregiver for 2.5 years.
I won't use the word control. It is attention. She loves attention.
Well, did she not lead him on a chase through a parking lot
Yes, she did.
or an extended period of time?
And she almost had me involved in that chase until I said, I'm not doing this. I decided I'm not going to do this with her.
And when she was told to stop it, she was laughing, right?
Oh, she was laughing, yes, yes.
All right. Now, you said that Mom does a good job of processing with her.
Mm-hmm,
Mom keeps her composure.
yes.
Mom has the ability to wait out Delara.
Mm-hmm,
Mom is good at setting up regular visitations.
that's correct.
Mom is, Mom is prepared for the visitations.
Yes, ma'am.
Mom sets boundaries during the visitations.
Mm-hmm,
And when she had the chickens and the ducks, she was an appropriate parent in that setting?
That's correct.
Mom is supportive of dad's boundaries.
That's correct.
It would be helpful to introduce mom more into the school setting. Correct.
Mm-hmm.
She should have more involvement in the school.
Yes.
And is it dad who's complaining about these songs?
According to Delora, that one song, The Middle, there was another song he had concerns that would not be helpful. And I just asked the mom not to play any of the songs, and she complied. I
Okay,
just don't play any music, so she didn't do any music.
okay. So his complaints narrowed it down to no music?
I narrowed it down just to make sure that nothing was done that would end up being a trigger to Delora.
But is it accurate to say, I'm trying to find your quote, that there really does not appear to be any rhyme or reason as to what sets Delora off? True?
That is what I'm saying. I am, in my observation of this child, when she does not get her way, that's what's going to set her off. That's my observation. And
Okay.
I have 2 hours once a week. So is it limited? Yes.
Right.
The school can give more of what they think that they see, and then Dr. Berryman sees her also. But 2 hours once a week, what I see as a trigger is she's not getting her way. And that's why when the question was asked about me doing other services, I would like other people to look also and see what they see. My 2 hours is I feel that it's the child, when she does not get what she wants, then that is what's setting her off.
But giving a child everything she wants is not an option, correct?
That's correct. That is a terrible option.
And the school seeing the same thing, just whenever she doesn't get her way, she has a meltdown. That wouldn't surprise you, would it?
If they tell, I haven't talked to anyone at the school, but if I heard that from the school, I would not be surprised at all. That would be what I see.
Okay. And so to try to set up a cause and effect as to somehow reintroducing mom into her life has caused behaviors, that wouldn't be fair, would it? A fair characterization?
I don't think so.
Okay. In fact, mom being removed from her life, being at the start of this downhill spiral, that's also a possibility, correct?
Objection.
It could be.
Speculation, Your Honor.
I sustain. Hold on, Ms. Ballard, I'm gonna sustain that objection. I think that was a little.
Let me rephrase. How would you characterize the effect of the removal of a primary caretaker, just in your experience, on a child?
I mean, it's never positive, but it depends on what was going on at that time. I have seen where sometimes primary parents should be removed, and because they're so detrimental at that time. So I didn't know what was going on, and I didn't know the family at that time too, and I don't even know the facts that actually led to the mom being removed from the picture.
So if, absent something fairly extreme, that is generally not going to be a good idea, correct?
Your Honor, objection, cause for speculation.
I'll sustain that one.
Is it your understanding, or let me rephrase that. On a child like Delora, who's basically all over the map in behaviors, correct? Is that accurate? Would you, and let me ask you this, do you understand that Delara, you had interaction with Dr. Berryman, correct?
That's correct.
You're somewhat aware of what goes on at school, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
You have observed mom more, but dad somewhat on a limited basis. You've observed both parents, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And have you seen anything that leads you to believe at this point in time that Ms. Hubbell's presence in Delara's life is a detriment to her?
Objection, Your Honor, that's beyond the scope of the supervised visitations, Your Honor.
I'll allow it. I'll rule objection.
This is what I can say. In my observations, 2 hours, one time a week, I have not seen Ms. Hubbell do anything that would trigger behaviors in Delara. I have not seen her do anything that I feel that is unsafe or is detrimental to her. She appears to, during my observation, she's very supportive of the child. She's loving and affectionate towards the child. She makes comments that are supportive about her school environment and her home environment. And she tries to support her in schoolwork. Delara doesn't always want to tell her what's going on or what she's working on. What she wants to know is, what are you working on in math right now? What are you working on in reading? And let's check your fluency. Delara does not want to answer those questions, but she does her best to try to support this child. I will tell you my concern. My concerns are the statements of her wanting to harm herself, even though it appears to be attention-seeking. And Dr. Berryman can speak more because she's her therapist and has that one-on-one interaction with her of what's going on there. But that is my concern. Her making statements, even if it's to get attention, when you have all of the attention from your mother and father, and you know without a shadow of a doubt that they both love you, that she makes these types of statements. That's what's concerning.
And when she makes the most recent statement about trying to harm herself, that was while she was living in the primary custody and control of her father, correct?
Yes, she has not made those visits, those types of statements during our 2-hour visit.
And you said that Ms. Hubbell offered and was open to having you come see her home, correct?
Yes, ma'am, on several occasions.
And you're still willing to do that?
I would say this, I would do it. It's not the scope of services, the supervised visitation. But if youth village is getting in and everything is going great, yes, I would go do that home visit.
And I'm a little lost as to why, if you've observed nothing inappropriate and youth villages is to facilitate this communication between these parents, why are we keeping a parent
Objection,
relegated?
Your Honor, is relevant. She's not
Has to
qualified
stay
to
that
make that determination.
That
That's
was
for the
court order.
court.
I have to say that.
Let me ask you this. You're saying you don't see any reason for this parent to continue to be relegated to this type of environment with her child, right?
I would hope not to. The only issue I have right now is we don't have youth villages involved and then the statements that the child has made. So again, it has nothing to do with the mom. I would only say supervised visitation just because the little girl has made the statements and a liability concern. But during the visits, that type of stuff, and let me say this, Ms. Hubbell has complied. When I told her we're not going to talk about stealing, she said okay. She said that she wanted it noted that 9-year-olds can commit suicide. And I told her I would make a phone call to Dr. Berryman, and I would put it in my notes. And I did. I reflected her concerns in my notes. But she has complied when I have said, hey, we're not going to talk about this. We're not going to do this. I have seen her be disappointed, and she does not like that I have asked her not to do something,
Right.
but she complies with me. And when her daughter is there, she doesn't even bring it up. She doesn't act like, oh, this lady just said I can't do this. She doesn't do any type of sideways coming back to be negative
Right.
or anything. Things are very positive when her daughter is present. Now, I don't know what she's thinking about me once the visit is over. It could be anything.
You don't care,
But
do you?
I really don't. In front of the little girl, it is positive, and she doesn't bring it up, and she acts like it's not even there. So I would hope that if she's done this during the supervised visitation, that she knows how important it is for her to have unsupervised, and she would keep the same behaviors up.
So if we're trying to minimize a parent's time based on a child's talking about self-harm, I'm a little lost as to why we're not looking at the person who is in charge of that child
Objection, Your Honor, calls for
90-something% of the
speculation. It's
time.
not a question.
I'm gonna sustain that. I'm gonna sustain that.
Is it possible that
Objection,
This
Your Honor, calls for speculation.
I haven't finished my
Yeah, let me
question.
see. Let me hear what she's gonna ask, and then I'll see if it's speculation.
Is it possible, based on your observations and interactions, that Ms. Hubbell might do a better job than Mr. Gider in helping Laura with
I'm gonna
her
sustain that
business?
objection.
I cannot answer that because I
Okay.
have not
This Bella, I was
put the
good.
child together.
I was gonna sustain the objection anyway.
So the only thing you're seeing as a barrier between Ms. Hubbell and having typical parenting time, a natural, not being stared at while you're interacting with your child, typical parenting time, is the involvement of an agency that'll facilitate communication between the parents. Is that it?
That's correct. And not only between the parents,
But
also
Delora.
with Delora. It'll
Okay.
be intervention for Delora and counseling. It'll be additional counseling for Delora.
And during this month, pretty much the progress was finding out who's got what kind of coverage
Yes.
and who's gonna pay for it.
Yes.
That's what's keeping this parent from,
Yes. That because of the rules and insurance and all of that stuff, that's what's holding us back.
do you not have some concerns about this little girl based on these behaviors and all this acting out?
Objection is irrelevant, Your Honor.
Maybe.
Her role is not to stress her concerns with the court. The court makes that determination. She's just there to observe the supervised visitations.
I'll sustain that.
Have you seen Delora demonstrate a need and a desire to be with her mother?
Objection, Your Honor, that's a compound question, a need and a
All right,
desire.
a desire to be with her mother.
I will say this, she enjoys her time with her mother. She likes visiting with her mother. I think that if she was offered more time, she would take it. As far as all of that stuff, these are things that she talked to Dr. Berryman about. My observation is she enjoys being with her mother. And she loves her father. She needs both of her parents. That is my observation when I'm with this child. I'm not having one-on-one conversations with her or anything. Dr. Berryman does.
Right.
But my observation is she enjoys being with her mother, and she's happy to see her dad at the end of the visit. Can I say this? Because any concern I have had about the dad, Delora's complaints about the dad not letting her sleep in his bed and all of that stuff, I was really pleased with the dad. I was like, all right, good job, Dad. There is nothing that I feel that he's doing anything wrong with this child. I think he is a loving father. We just have a little girl who I think she needs her mom in her life also. Mm-hmm. And she needs some intervention right now. And yes, she has Dr. Berryman but I think she needs more because that is once a week being taken to Dr. Berriman's office. Sometimes you have to see her and meet her in her different environments to give her that additional support that she needs. And unfortunately, the way the school system is, it's not unfortunately, it's actually a good thing. Parents can't go sit in classrooms, but counselors can go to the school, things of that nature to kind of narrow down what exactly is going on in her mind to even make some of the statements that she makes.
Okay. So you don't see anything, like I said, again, other than this insurance situation as being a barrier to one of these parents having typical parenting time?
That's correct. I would love for the judge to order 10 youth villages to bypass some of or get her in that program somehow.
Well, last time, were you not, when we were here before, were you not prepared to say Mom could go ahead and start filling in some of the times that Dad is using sitter type services?
I was comfortable with that, and I guess I'm still comfortable with that. I
Okay.
want youth villages involved I still want youth villages there regardless. As the Laura's person to see her in her different environments. But when I was filling in for babysitting time and when he had something to do, I felt like that was a great place to start with the unsupervised visitation.
And you were ready to say for that week, right?
Yes, because I thought youth villages, the referrals, and I thought everything would be in place really fast. That was my hope too.
You don't have familiarity with with the constitutional right to parent your child, correct?
That's correct.
You're not, okay. Nothing further.
All right, anything else?
Yes, just quickly. Ms. Ballard,
Yes, ma'am.
can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
My colleague, Ms. Cheatham, asked you something about the mother and the wonderful things that the mother has done. Isn't it true that you testified that the father is a great father as well? They both spoil the child, correct?
Yes.
And you testified that you see your trigger during your 2-hour-a-week visitation, roughly 8 hours a month, 8 to 10 hours a month. The triggers during visitations with the mother and with the father is the child not getting her way.
That's correct.
And from what you testified before,
Your Honor, I'm going to object. This would be the third time for each one of these questions. So all of this has been asked and answered. I think just reiterate
I'm going
this.
on. You said mother appears to be supportive during the visitations, correct?
That's correct.
Do you have any personal knowledge of anything the mother has done outside of the visitations to contribute to the child's behaviors?
I'm not sure if I understand. I mean, I know that there are some postings that are not always flattering, and that causes some confusion behind the scenes.
Would that be a negative impact on the child and her emotional state, ma'am?
It can be, yes, if she gets on.
No further questions, ma'am.
Reach that, yes.
Okay, anything else, Mr. Franks?
No, Your Honor.
Ms.
Ms. Ballard, these things that are going on, as you said, behind the scenes, you don't have any of your own knowledge to go, and I think this goes back to last summer. You don't have any way of knowing. For one thing, you didn't even get a specific, but whether or not Laura even is aware of these things, do you?
I do know that Delora has gotten on, I guess it was YouTube, and
Right.
she's not supposed to get on YouTube.
Right.
And she had told her mother and her dad that when they're on there, and so Mrs. Hubbell told her, well, if you're not supposed to be getting on YouTube, don't get on YouTube. She supported the father's boundary of not getting on YouTube.
Okay. Nothing further.
All right. Nothing else, right? All right, thank you, Ms. Ballard. We appreciate you.
All right, thank you.
Uh-huh.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Oh, I'm sorry, Your Honor.
Wait a minute, hold on.
That exhibit.
Oh, okay. All right. I think I can do this without you. Thank you, Ms. Ballard. We appreciate you. Oh, I think she's gone. Okay. Yeah, she's gone.
Well, she already authenticated. She's
Okay. All right. That'll be exhibit to today's portion of the hearing. I need to check on this other case. Can you all come back later this afternoon? Well, let me see what we need to do. I need to do a referral for non-custodial services from the department so that we can get youth villages in the home at this time. I know that there are definitely concerns and troubles with Delora and her behaviors, particularly at school and other things that she's saying. The statement that she made about the suicide to Ms. Ballard is particularly disturbing as well. She's in counseling, and hopefully with Dr. Bayerman, the counseling will help to address those issues. I also did hear from Ms. Ballard the position that Ms. Hubbell is doing everything and has, at least for the times that she sees her, that she's redirected, she's behaving appropriately and doing the things that she needs to. The only concern is Delora and her behavior and needing that support from youth villages. The hope I can think for today is that youth villages would have been already in there and been able to give a good report, and we would have been able to move forward to the next step of whatever we need to do. I need to do a final order and get this adjudicated so that you all can appeal or do whatever it is that you need. But I also need to keep Delora as safe as can be. And so what I do need to get the new villages before I extend the visits anymore. I don't want to do it for long and don't want it to go extended, but I want to put a drop dead date of a order for DCS to open services to do this, and hopefully we'll get that done, and then I will have the order of adjudication completed at that point as well, if that makes sense. I said a whole lot. I don't know if I made it. Y'all are looking at me blankly.
So you're saying as to a final order?
I was hoping that I would have had some of this information to make the final order. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to be able to have that, and so I'm just going to make a final order without this piece to it, but I want this piece to move forward.
Okay.
And so I'm going to order non-custodial services through DCS, particularly youth villages, and I'll ask Ms. Mac to do the non-custodial form for me. I'm going to hopefully get that done as soon as possible, but I'm going to move forward regardless if it's done. And so I will make a final order on this. You all don't have to come back for the final order. But I guess, I'm not going to set it for anything. I'm going to just do the order and hopefully do the services, and then hopefully everything will be all right. So y'all don't have to come back.
Will the order just be emailed around?
I'll mail an order. I'm gonna put it on a docket just so I won't forget to do it. But
Now, Your Honor, so I'm clear before the court, in that non-custodial referral, because I don't want any dispute after we leave court, you would like in that order the referral for non-custodial services to provide what service to this family?
the services that Ms. Ballard said the youth villages would provide.
Case management.
Across environments.
Say that again?
Across environments, or
I just want to be clear because I don't want it to be any argument.
Case management. What else did they say? What else Ms.
Youth
Ballard
villages
said?
was to provide a youth villages referral in regards to that. In order for there to be a non-custodial case open, they have to provide a service to the family. And again, it has to be something that they're providing to the family other than the youth villages piece.
Oh, okay, I see what you're saying.
Yes.
So DCS has to have a reason to open the case.
Yes.
I do want them to do a home study as well.
Okay.
And then case management.
What, is there any safety concerns that we're saying? Or?
Safety concerns of the child
Okay.
and her behavior with both parents and in school.
Home study of the mother's residence?
Correct. Home study of the mother's resident. Address safety concerns of the child. And particularly her behavioral issues.
what about the father's home?
It's not a question, Your Honor.
That's not a question. The father's already been, is the current custodian, has already been ordered. This is a request for the mother to either become the custodian or have visits at her home. And so her home is the one that I have an issue right now.
Can I still put in there that we have supervised visitations even though we're still going on with progressive?
Correct.
Well, you know, the other thing is that the order from before gave her 8 hours. She's only getting 4, and then we're also got a recommendation that she be more involved, in
All right, I will
person at
address
the
all of that
school.
in my final order.
Can the parents adjust phone calls between themselves if they need to?
Absolutely, anything can be adjusted between themselves. All right, and so I will do an order. We'll get those services done, and that'll be the court's order.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you all.
And when do you think the order